gonna have any more interruptions?
I should be good.
You sure?
I put it on Do Not Disturb.
I appreciate it. I couldn't ask the man to do that for me earlier.
Luke
now. That's money on his watch. That's money on his mind.
I ain't got no money on my lap right now, so I'm off the clock. So
quit interrupting our show. Get out of here. You don't want to have a personality. All right, man. We're about to start. You got any questions? Comments or concerns? What's the name of the show? What's the name of the show?
I don't watch these guys.
Brother, that's the boy. That's my boy right there. My boy's gonna let me down. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Identity Booth, you guys. And I am still stuck in my mother's basement. Who knows for how long? But that is what the quarantine is going to do to you. It's going to make you realize and sit back home. But I can't wait to get back to a working situation. But for right now, in the meantime, we got the high school, the youth, the introduction to Heero, to coming to America Heero's friend, Jay. Welcome to the booth, man. I'm happy to see you, man.
First
you look good.
First time on the couch.
Yeah, you smell great. Like this man right here. I miss the set of high school right now. This is it right here. I have it all.
That's it.
And it's been a minute.
Yeah.
When was the last time you wasn't here in October?
No.
I ain't seen you since when? Last time I saw you was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not been terribly. It's less than a year.
Feels like it's been fast because of Corona.
No, days have been running together. Running.
Since this has started, I don't know how many times I've said I have no idea what day it is because all of it, they seem like they run together.
No, absolutely. And I mean, and I didn't even know you were going to be. That's the thing about us. We just showed the fuck up, and we just like we know. We can feel. I feel like Jeremiah is somewhere nearby. My spider senses are tingling. Yeah. We're all gonna meet up later on, but some of us, Daddy of 3, Party of 3, Piggy B, Party of
4. Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me. He does have 4.
Yeah.
Party of 4, Piggy.
White Lightning.
Got a family guy out there. I'm gonna catch up with him. I might put something like if I cognizantly think of it, I'll put something on the screen now because like this is all filming and editing for me. So it's good to see you still out in the South, man.
Yeah.
You came to the South. You came to the South because of me.
I must admit, I tell people that story all the time. So I honestly had no interest whatsoever in going to school in the South, and you raved about UAPB. And I was like, it can't be that good, bro. Like, is it really?
It is.
And then I went to grad school.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a rival of yours, but I went to South.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I texted you in that first month alone, telling you how many times I fell in love with another black woman I saw on campus.
They are everywhere. Welcome. Like, hey,
I didn't know.
It changed my mind. And to this day, I'm still thinking to myself, like, if I'm giving you any advice, in the future, in the past, if they actually, in my deathbed, gun to my head.
Oh, for sure.
It's bringing Jeremiah to the South. I have no regrets.
That's it. On the way out.
No, it's one hell of an experience. You can't, you don't get it much where else, but you've made it a home because you're out in Texas, and I'm secretly thinking to myself, how do I get back to Texas? But then I'm also secretly thinking to myself, that was I don't know if it's weird or maybe I'm just the only one experiencing this, but do you ever complete a mission somewhere and then find it difficult to try and go back there? It's like playing a video game level you already beat.
I mean, I feel the same way about Chicago.
Yeah, so
it's home. Love the city. It will always be home, but this is not. I'm not at a place in my life, and I don't know that I ever will want to move back to Chicago. I feel like I've done everything I need to do here, and it's run its course. I've spent my time here.
I mean, at this point, we're old men now, so it's because any moves, we say old man, but any significant move right now requires a major paycheck or a major influence of something. Don't be like me, future kids. like find a spot and just like don't fight the wave too much. Like you can only save so many people. Like definitely take that for everything it's worth. But I mean, you've been home now. I mean, anything exciting happening? I mean, what's going on with you? Because like literally, I haven't talked to you since.
Checking on the family, man. So since, I mean, it's like everybody has, man. We've been away in the middle of Corona, and I had a chance to see the family. So just took some time to come home, lay some eyes on mom's. Sister popped in.
Sister?
Yeah, she's here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Honestly, hadn't seen, other than the funeral in March, like I hadn't been back home since Thanksgiving too, so it's been a while. And Corona makes everything feel so much longer, so even though it's only been a couple of months, it felt like it's been damn near a year. So
you still coaching volleyball?
Yeah, still coaching
season.
Club. So not doing high school ball anymore, but club season we're in like our preseason, so all of the kids are signed, so they're officially on our team now. So we're starting kind of that off-season training, and then we officially start our practice December 1st.
Are you a Z type coach?
Nah, the complete opposite, man.
You are?
Complete opposite.
What?
Yeah, I couldn't be the furthest thing from.
For all you guys that don't know what a Z coach is, we have a lovely high school head coach by the name
Lovely is a great way to put it. Unique.
Coach Sazada. And he has a personality, and that personality is all about your pride. You know, we're gonna make sure you have pride. If you're gonna have anything while you being coached by him, you're gonna have pride. So it disappoints me to know that there's not a version of Jeremiah out there just screaming.
There's a dash of it.
Oh, there is.
There's a dash of it, but I'm not pushing buttons like that regularly. Any and every button that he can identify, Coach Zazada is gonna push.
Oh yeah.
Right? So I'm not a big yeller and screamer unless I absolutely have to. I feel like I do a good enough job explaining things to kids and helping them to understand why they're doing what they're doing that I don't need to repeat it 7, 8, 9 times.
Oh.
Right? But if it's clear that they just don't give a damn and they're doing things the way they want to do it, then that's
that Z comes out. Z will make you care. Z will make you feel like you could run through a brick wall.
Yeah.
And hey, we've done it many a times. Yeah. we got proof. And I mean, so the coaching is going on, because we do have a tight knit group of friends down there. We're all in the chat group, Lou and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you saw the pictures from Jeff's wedding.
Yeah, so I saw that and I was just like, you know, Jeff,
the entrepreneur,
the definition of I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
That man is changed, and I was like, it's always for the better, you know.
For sure.
You can't be mad at people for getting better at life and stuff like that. So I always try and think to myself about what it is that we're gonna end up doing, and to see that Jeff has like accomplished that. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, Luke.
Luke
with the cameo. It's just been great. Like I told myself like, oh, okay, I'm gonna come home and you know I'm gonna gain some like mental inspiration or something's gonna click for me and I'm gonna be able to find a definitive answer. And it just didn't happen this time. And I don't know. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm gonna stay here till Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, oh, Sunday, I'm out of here. Like because birthday's tomorrow. I'm like, I might literally leave like Sunday morning, like 4 a.m. and just. Because, like, at this point, it's like, you know.
I guess you are driving back, right?
Yeah, I got to drive. I have to take the car back with me. So I was just like, because I just feel like I could work more effectively from my crib.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you got a better space, too.
Oh, yeah.
You have all your stuff in the house.
Yeah. I mean, I literally brought the desktop and everything, and I sat there and was trying to edit, and I was just like, this table's too low. This height isn't right.
Trust me, I understand. I don't have a stand-up desk at my mother's house, so I've been using the microwave on top of the counter.
Oh.
And putting my computer on top of that so that it's about the same.
So you're not on vacation.
Nah.
See, I took time off. Well, I guess you guys can work remotely.
Yeah, we're all working remote anyway.
So like that was another thing for me. Like I got asked to interview for at Northwestern and did that one. But then like another dude hit me up. I was like, hey, we're looking for a social health commentary specialist broadcaster. Are you interested in being a producer for that? And I was just like, you do know I cut people open for a living, right? He was like, yeah, but you have the podcast thing going on. We saw that. And we thought like, man, we could definitely use someone like you as a front face for us to kind of give more better information to the masses.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, that is not a bad niche, but I was like, is that something I really want to do?
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know that you ever, I don't think you ever set out for this to be anything other than a hobby.
Yeah, it's not until like recently where I started going like live and stuff like that, that all of a sudden I was like, oh no, like people are expecting this content every week or something like that. So like when I started getting sponsorships, that's when I was like, okay, I got to think of like a contingency plan here. Yeah. And I mean, there's not a part of me that's like saying like, okay, you know, at this point, I've saved enough people. I've done enough surgeries to be like, yeah, there's going to be generations of people that be like, yeah, he affected me. He was the guy that affected my lifestyle. For sure. So like, there's that part of me, but like at this point, like especially after going through COVID and seeing how important it is to have either a job that you can do without being outside, or a job that is required of you, and knowing that okay, I always have the healthcare industry to rely on. That's great. So now the question then becomes, could I make it off of something like this if I wanted to do it, or if I wanted to do a career? I mean,
the opportunity is definitely there.
If there's a career shift for me, like now would be it. Like now would be the time for me to see like, but I don't necessarily call it a career shift because, I mean, I know people, it's crazy now because people stream online for 6 hours a day and they make $30,000 a month. Like
it's possible.
It's possible. So it's just about like if you're willing to go to that extent. I feel like if I was making 8 hours of content every day, I could definitely probably switch over. But then it's a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But also, if you get good enough where you're like on the level of these streamers where it's like $30,000 a month, then do you really work every day?
Yeah, it's not really working anymore.
You're just really just working long enough to just say, hey, I'm going on vacation, or until someone else picks you up. Like, I mean, and I'm sitting here talking like I got the comic book in front of Adult Swim. Like that was a whole thing.
It's a good look.
So like, it's not like, and I did that while I was doing this. And they're like, oh yeah, just let us know when you finish. I was like, oh, y'all want me to finish?
You want the whole thing.
You want the whole thing. Oh, okay. I was only going to go do one book. That was my goal. I just said.
And with full series.
They're like, oh yeah, finish it. Go ahead. We have plans for you. I was like, oh. And then they started featuring. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, okay. Oh, you paid because you featured. Oh, man.
It's not a bad problem to have, though.
It's not. But like, stability is key. Like,
for sure.
That's what I'm like kind of thinking about. Like, are you? I mean, what does stability look like for you?
Stability. It is honestly probably something I never thought about before COVID, but having the ability to be in a profession or in a career, in a job, right, that is not going to be, cannot be affected by something like a pandemic like this. So I guess I never thought about my work in that sense before this pandemic hit, but thinking about all of the types of jobs that are now, that don't exist anymore, that those people have been laid off, or hell, honestly, people have just been fired, right? Because these companies don't have enough money. They don't have a payroll to be able to continue to keep these folks on staff. Thinking through a job that through something like this could not be affected, I guess is now something that I'm sure everybody else has had to think about, because there's so many people that are unemployed right now.
No, absolutely. 40 million people. Yeah. And 20 million of those jobs aren't coming back.
Yeah.
Like you want to, and a lot of people are like, if the vaccine comes tomorrow, this is still a 2-year event where people are trying to recover. Like, there's literally people could you imagine your higher job is to be evicting people in Houston, like that officer? Like, it's just, it really brings to my mind, like, a lot of the questions about, like, people say things like, oh, America's doing this, we're doing great. And it's like, bro, we have people who die of famine in this country. Like, there's nothing. Every day. Every day. It's not that great. Like, it might be great.
Not for everybody.
Not for everybody, exactly. The people who don't have to answer to anyone, or the people, even if you do answer some people, you're not really prepared for. So, like, I mean, I'm happy, like I said, I'm happy to see that you're doing well, everything's going good with family. I mean, and I'm thinking back to, like, it's always comforting to come home in this aspect, like, because it's a neutral point. Yeah. We always get to see where everything kind of is. If it's affecting home, then, like, you can deeply see, like, damn, the outside world is really being, like, harnessed by this whole virus. But, like, to come home and kind of see a copacetic version of my house, like, to see, like, okay, Crystals is still open, Panos is still open, like,
it's just the Crystals.
I was thinking about, I was like, I want to get that before I leave. But I was thinking like, it's like, okay, these things are still here. Everything's kind of fine. So I was like, that's like sort of been my barometer of like, if things are.
I thought the same. Coming here, right? So I drove up.
You drove up?
Yeah. I drove the 17, whatever. I split it in half though. So I drove to KC, which was halfway.
Why?
And then took the rest away. Do you feel comfortable flying yet?
See how quickly I forgot? I was like, damn.
I'm not ready for that, especially knowing, and I hate to say this over American Airlines, you don't see this, but the fact that I've heard, let me say that, I've heard that American Airlines was not taking away their middle seat on flights.
No, they're not.
I was like, nah, I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet.
Southwest is though.
Southwest is, for sure.
And that's the thing.
Knowing that at least one of these major airlines is cutting corners like that for the sake of saving their bottom line does not make me feel comfortable. So I was like, okay, love American, they're an investment of ours. Right? So I need to see why.
I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut that out just because.
Long story short, I didn't feel comfortable flying, so I drove.
No, that's and that's fair.
But yeah, like coming up here, I was talking to my mother and just a couple of people that I knew were actually here still, trying to figure out what was open, like what did the city feel like, are gyms open, are restaurants open, is there a limit on the capacity that these places can have occupancy for? Trying to figure out what it's gonna look like
he invited me to a 6 a.m. workout, and part of it was 6 a.m. Go fuck yourself. But the second part was like, I still haven't gone to a gym. I got the backyard workout, baby. Yeah. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thanks TF North for all the free weights. But once again, this was also the first time I benched 225 in 6 months, and I was just like, yeah, I haven't done this in a while. I wouldn't have survived if I had gone to your CrossFit. I'm almost sure.
I mean, trust me, don't say my CrossFit because I'm a CrossFit. Let's not get that.
No. Jay out here boxing. Jay, you got the hands down. We used to call him stiff in high school, but now this man is fluid. He
getting better.
He can dance now. He can dance. So, that's what I learned. He said, you can't dance. You can't play football.
You struggle, man. I don't know if I'll make it.
Man. So it was just a lot of unknowns, a lot of misknowns for me. But in my mind, I was just like, just come home, show your face. I didn't even plan for it to be like my birthday weekend because once again, I'm not doing anything. I was like, I'm just chill. But it's just a change of scenery. One, and then two, I don't know, a big part of my whole creativity, me drawing, comes from me being outside. I draw day-to-day things. So if I'm stuck in the house drawing, unless I've already drawn it out, the first thing I've drawn since the end of book 2 or book 1 was that Chadwick Boseman picture. Yeah. And I was just that came out of an emotional response. Mm-hmm. So unless I have something to kind of just feed that energy to make me want to do it, then I won't get to it. So I just knew coming home, I was that's why I brought all my stuff. I was I haven't filmed in a while since the live stream. I watched the RNC and it just killed me. I haven't wanted to do anything else.
So I will not lie to you. I sat and watched. I rewatched because I didn't catch it live. I watched it all online.
Oh, which one? The RNC or
the RNC?
Okay, I thought you watched the live stream.
I must admit that was some of the best. I feel like I was watching a sitcom. It was Saturday night.
It was a paradox scheme.
It's hilarious.
I don't know. And the thing about it is I was so confused at who is this? Who are they talking to? Yeah. Because they were they had the people from St. Louis who pulled the guns out, and I was like, you guys are felons.
Fearmonger.
You guys are felons talking about you don't feel safe. You pulled your guns out.
And people walking by your home. Didn't stop, didn't say anything to them. They're just walking through the neighborhood.
And I was like, okay, there's that. And then there's this whole controversy is were the Trump kids high the whole time? What's going on? And I didn't know who Tiffany Trump was till now. And I was like, oh wow, there's another one who doesn't have anything to do with these ones, but she's just as bad. So is it a DNA thing? Are you just all rotten to your core? And then Melania wore that green dress, and everyone's just been basically putting, because it's a green screen basically. So people have been putting like
all type of
stuff on her dress. And I was just like, who planned this? I don't know.
Honestly, I think Doc Rivers kind of, I don't know what to say response, but his kind of recognition of the RNC in his post-game interview the other day was the best summation of all of that I think I've seen.
Yeah, that's why we need you here, Biggie, because you're supposed to be bringing up the topic about Steve Nash. The thing that I watched the article from Stephen A. And I read an article on it, and that kind of just hit me as not strange, but my rebuttal to it was immediately like Magic Johnson was the GM for the Lakers with no experience.
That's true.
So I was just like, is this not if you're going to use, if there's ever been a time or a place, or not necessarily time or a place, but if there's ever been a sport, I think sports is kind of excused from that biased nature because these are all celebrities.
I don't know that it's excused from it, but I think
it happens.
He could have better described what that situation looked like. So another commentator mentioned that he thought it's probably not as much white privilege as it is former athlete privilege.
Yeah, okay,
that makes more sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Like, yeah, if this was a Joe Schmo off the street,
right? Then hell
no, it's privilege.
Right.
But I feel like if I went back to UAPB and I have no coaching experience, but I literally have playing experience there and in the NFL. Like I could literally, and they brought in some Joe, like not even a Joe Schmo. He has a tenure of 4 years of coaching, and I want to coach D-line, and you want him to coach D-line. You're going with me.
Yeah,
you're going with me.
Being alum, having experience, that all matters.
Like so like.
I think the other part of it too is he inadvertently kind of negated his own argument by saying that he thinks Steve Nash could be a good coach.
And see, he might be good with X's and O's, but are you good with dealing with personalities? Because you have two of the most prima donna ass people.
That's true.
On your team, and literally,
I think the issue would be more of. I think it'd be more the opposite. I think he'd be better managing those relationships, especially with Kevin Durant, because he had that experience with him at Golden State. Right, so he was a player consultant or whatever consultant for the Warriors for a couple of years when KD was there. He came, I guess, to work specifically with him. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the connection that gave him that opportunity in Brooklyn.
See, this isn't like true. This is true to a certain extent, but like he seems to have like the superstar whisperer ability on people because he's dealt with a lot of problem people in the league and invited them in, sort of like what Tom Brady does. He takes, but it's so weird to see. Tom Brady will take the most troubled person on his team and bring them into the house and live with him, him and his family. And I'm thinking to myself, it's he has a 22-bedroom house, so yeah, it makes sense. No, guest room next door to Tom Brady's room in the main house. And I was like, I have questions, but also that's not strange to me because it's like if I had a house and like, hey bro, I'm driving through, can I crash? Yeah, doors open. He literally walked through the open doors. Doors open, I'm not gonna be back for 4 hours, but have at it. Make yourself at home. But I guess like that aspect of it is once again it flies over my head. I don't know what goes on or goes into.
I'm not a basketball guy, but at face value, I think it's more of a former athlete privilege than anything.
No, it makes that in retrospect it makes sense. All right. Well, at this point in the catch up, I'm gonna give you the floor, the grounds. You got anything passionate on your mind? Anything you want to speak on? Got the future kids, future wife,
future leaders of the world,
diversity,
equity, inclusion, and it's been interesting. I will say it seems like at least my organization in particular has been really serious about trying to make some change happen. I think the fact that it has not, and they did not recognize it up until this point, says enough. But the fact that they recognize it now and they're not trying to make some change gives me a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
And I guess moving forward, the thing that I'm always going to push in terms of a personal agenda, which is not even just personal, it's for all of us, right? It's just the idea of representation. So, what I texted you about the other day, so a local school district in Texas is trying to put together, it's a career it's a college and career course, basically, where they're having men and women come in and speak to kids that look like the kids that they're teaching, right? It's predominantly minority district, black and brown students, and majority of the people that they've had to come back and talk to these students are alum of the school, right? So it hits a little different because it's like, oh yeah, well, these people are from here, but these are all locally grown folks. So they want people who are not necessarily from the area that have had some success here and in other places to come and speak to what their path looked like from high school through career, or through college, into their career. And I guess what I'm leaning on with this and talking to you and asking a couple other guys in the group text to do this with me is to show kids the opportunities that are out there that they may or may not know about.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I knew, to be completely honest, absolutely nothing about economic development before I started doing this work in 2015. And like opportunities like that are just basically non-existent in our culture or in our demographic because of a lack of exposure to knowledge. Right. So really just getting in front of kids and letting them know what opportunities are out there. Right? We don't know it all. And we're not saying that these kids have to necessarily go into these types of roles and do the things that we're doing, but showing them, yo, this is something that you can do if it's something that you aspire to.
No, absolutely. A big part, and us in sort of like using this as a standout point, it's like a lot of what we learned, no one told us. Like we literally had the stock market, financial literacy. Like our parents were great from a standpoint of raising us to the best of their ability, but like that springboard off from that point, we didn't get that springboard. We got the board, but we didn't get that spring. So, and you can't complain because all they had to do was open the door. Yep. You got to find your way from that point on. So, for me, talking to a younger version, because everyone always has that situation where it's like, what would you say to a younger version of you? That isn't really about you. It's about what you say to the future. Like, the future. So, like, for the kids, they're like, oh, I want to be a doctor. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to be a doctor too. That didn't work out for me. But guess what? PA. I have here are pictures of me. Yeah. Here are me taking out a pair of lungs. I'm not a doctor. But how'd you do that? Let me show you. Let me put you on game. So, like, I think it's super important because that's like, once again, it's the building block. You have to see one to do one. Like, sometimes you got to take that L. And that's why I feel like a lot of our generation is done for the future. Like, we've had to figure out and maneuver our way through certain situations that we didn't really necessarily know all of it. Yeah. So, like, when we finally found our way, it's like, okay, cool. But then that's how we get to this point and we're like, but is this all we can do? Is there something more? And then obviously the answer is yes, but then it's like, what? Like, man, I'm so amazed to hear, like, when I hear, like, okay, Jay wanted to be a lawyer, but then he got into economic development. And I'm like, he said that blew his mind and that's now his passion. And I'm like, has that ever happened to me? Like, where I saw something that I didn't know that I wanted to do and then I got to do it and I was like, yep, found it. It's sort of like the proverbial, finding love. It just hits you on the head. Like, nah, motherfucker, there has to be a strategy to this.
Right. You have to want it. You have to go looking for it.
You have to go looking for it. There's got to be more than just that. But no, that's great. That's great. I mean, is there anything you want to plug? Like anything promotion-wise? Like, I don't know if this thing, but I know you got something under wraps that the brand. I don't want to.
We're not gonna do it.
Okay, we're not gonna talk about that.
Man, I don't have anything to plug. So if you are anywhere in the country and you're looking for some good athletes on the volleyball side of things, I'm gonna plug Mad Frog Volleyball Club, which is where I coach. Yeah. Our 17th group. This is actually probably one of the bigger, more heralded groups that we've had to graduate or about to graduate, I guess. Out of this group of 11, we've got 8 of these kids that are already top high schools. So Iowa State, Arkansas, Alabama, OU, Arizona, TCU, Davidson. Okay. That's it for now. There's still a couple other kids to get.
Is volleyball bigger in the South than it is in the North?
It depends on where you are in the South. Yeah. Okay. I think there's pockets of it everywhere, right? So in terms of the best prep talent, it's probably California one, right, as an entire state, sure, right? And then either Texas, Florida, or Pitt, right, out of the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, like those 3 states put together some really good talent. So those are kind of the pockets around the country. There's good kids everywhere, but we, I think, have a pretty good hold on it.
Yeah. So if you're sitting somewhere in El Paso, Texas right now, you're thinking to yourself, you're thinking to yourself, I have potential. Jay's interested. Jay's interested.
We'll make that connection for you. We'll get you some kids.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, this has been the catch up. There's a certain bluster of like commonality where like if you're just talking to your homeboy, you don't really have this super ultra professional stance on yourself, and that's what Jay is. He's known me since I was basically in a sandbox, and boy,
one more thing,
yeah,
I really unplug. So what is just for you? This is my Kanye list.
Oh wow.
Context, merch. So I watched that episode. Right? I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
Okay.
I completely agree.
Okay.
But, and this is not, I would never advise anybody to feel the way that I do about this guy or any person, right? I have somehow, in my mind, learned to separate the man from the music. Okay. That's the only way I can get there.
Okay. Yeah, that's
the only way. Because I, like, up until, to be honest with you, up until maybe 2012, maybe 2013, like right after Watch the Throne.
Yeah.
You could tell me shit about Kanye. You could tell me shit about Kanye.
I know if I go in Jay's car right now, whatever music
I have 2 CDs.
Yes.
I got my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and I have late registration. CDs in the car. Don't use them, but just have them. Got more vinyl too. I can vinyl use that.
You know, and I give Jay a tough time about like his man crush on Kanye, but you know, to each his own. But hey, that's a view for the Kanye video, which is doing really well. I'll probably link it up for them. But you know, that's what real friends do. They argue, they debate, but they still find a way to identify with each other as they constantly try to identify with you. And that is the motto here on the Identity Booth. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. You can always find us on Spotify, YouTube right now, iTunes, Player FM, Google Play. We're on all major podcasting formats and platforms. And if not, if there's something you want me on, just let me know. I'll sign up and get the podcast on. It's like that's literally what my little service platform is all about, getting you guys this content. But it's been real. I know Jay has to be somewhere, so I'm gonna let him get out of here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much.